Now, after the bad news of 2020, many workers at the SABC are entering an uncertain new year after pressure and criticism about a new structure for the organisation. The public broadcaster extended the time whereby it would consult with workers for a month. The restructuring last put on the table meant around 400 permanent staff members would be retrenched or repositioned. Union BEMAWU has told its members that it was given until today to make final written submissions, but the time was too short. It says the SABC's Chief Operations Officer refused the request of parties to consult further around the final structure and severance pay presented by the SABC. Now, we did reach out to the SABC. It says it's not doing any interviews for now, as it first needs to meet with staff members. Let's see what the other major union has to say. We're joined by Aubrey Tshabalala, the General Secretary of the Communication Workers Union, the CWU. Mr. Tshabalala, thank you for being with us. There was an extra month here of extra consultation time. How has that gone?
Well, thank you very much, and good evening to our viewers at home. The consultation process has been very hostile. It started at the beginning of December with us agreeing on the terms to reference, and it moved on by workers being consulted or engaged on. But there were inputs that were made, which were significant, made by workers, and they then provided us a space as a consultation platform with the employer and together with the mediator. And in those, when the SABC responded in terms of what the workers have made inputs on, in terms of what unions have made inputs on, we then find that there were still some flaws. For example, where we have argued that some position cannot be withdrawn from SABC because it will have a negative impact in the entire public broadcaster, they then put those positions but then remove other people on the other side. When we raised that particular question, they then wanted to close the meeting and say we can make further submission via a writing format.
All right, so you believe that ultimately it hasn't made much difference to the number of workers who are going to lose their jobs, for instance, or are there workers who now will not be retrenched because of the consultations, the input of workers' unions, and that being received in some instances by the SABC?
There has been some shift. Right now, SABC says that there's 290 jobs that are impacted, vis-a-vis the 400 that it was at end of November. They further said that they still have the 170. So in that sense, there's been some move. But they are failing to
Can I clarify there? So you say that the SABC is saying only 290 workers stand to lose their jobs now, which is well under 400.
Yes, which there's some vacancies, but however, they are failing to confirm that because we have requested them, give us the names because we're talking warm bodies. You can't just say it's a number. Give us the names and the department so that we can be able to identify whether the engagements and the input have been listened to. Yeah. What they did, they give us a list of November, which still has over 500 workers, which is a problem for us.
Okay, so if that is true, though, if they've confirmed that to you and it is true, that means more than 100 workers' jobs have been saved. Is that a victory for the workers?
No, it's far from a victory. It's far from the public broadcaster's victory, because at the same time, it's not achieving what they initially said, which is said they are going to cut the financial or the salary bill. They are increasing the salary bill by employing more freelancers, casual workers, by the way. They are continuing to employ. So in other words, they are removing quality jobs, replacing it with jobs that is workers that are not going to have massive rights like these current workers are having. So it's a problem. So it's not actually solving what we have been told initially, but it's creating more burden for SABC. It's creating more content to be outsourced. It's creating more private sector to benefit out of SABC.
Yeah. Did you or BEMAWU? BEMAWU said there was a deadline of today to hand in the final submissions. Did either of you get in final submissions today?
Well, I spoke to BEMAWU leadership. They have submitted. We have submitted ourselves, and we have submitted massive number of inputs. But it's very critical to say this. If SABC again, and it becomes now a trend, walks out of a meeting and say they can only listen to us when we submit in writing. It gives us a very limited time to consult with workers, which we couldn't, to come back with a new proposed structure and consult with workers. So
Mr. Tshabalala, wasn't the difference about this consultation period, the extra month, that workers would be consulted directly as well?
Well, limitedly. There's a difference being consulted and being presented with what we have submitted and agree to it. There's a difference when you are listened to and you are not actually told the end results. When you question the end results, people walk out of the meeting. That is a problem.
Yeah. If SABC's stance is that time is up now, that this has all happened, 290, if that number can be confirmed, we'll find out, will be retrenched or repositioned. Is this the end of the road for workers, or are there any more options here?
Certainly not. We have a lot of options. We still have a court option. We still have a strike option. In fact, we are going to give SABC a letter this evening after we have submitted this afternoon, informing them that should they not allow us a space and time to go back to workers, as a fundamental reason that a union exists is to consult and get a mandate. If they're not going to allow us to do that by Tuesday, we'll use other alternatives to deal with SABC.
So will you threaten a strike?
We are not threatening, we are promising a strike if we are not going to be listened to by SABC.
As far as workers are concerned, do you understand what happens now? As some SABC workers have been issued with retrenchment notices, then it was all put on hold. Some were meant to receive letters after the consultation process. Do you know when they will receive those letters?
Yes, hence we've requested them to provide us or to furnish us with a list of workers that are actually impacted. That will assist us to be able to consult properly and represent properly. So they have not done that. So it's a shortcut in terms of the consultation process itself. So I have to be in a position now to tell you how many workers will be receiving letters, how many workers that have received letters that will be withdrawn. I'm not in that position because the consultation was not extended to that position where union will fully fledged represent its members.
So you're saying after an extra month of consultations, you and the workers still don't know what's going on, in short?
Well, in totality, we don't know what's going on. What we know is that they told us they've cut a part of the SABC, planned retrenchment, which was 400. We are not in that position to tell which workers have infected or not. By the way, let me inform you, last time they said 400 people received letters. We found out through this process that it's actually more than 800 people received letters. So we cannot leave SABC because it cannot be trusted with this process. We've asked them to give us the letter. They gave us a list of November, which still goes beyond 500. It's a problem to us. We need a list that will say 290, and these are the people.
I'm not sure about those numbers, but maybe the SABC would say this isn't a clear retrenchment. Not everybody's being retrenched. Sometimes people have to move to a different salary scale or apply for different jobs. The important thing is, do you believe that workers who have to make important decisions, maybe to apply for severance packages, do they understand their options right now?
Absolutely. You're coming to our point exactly. Once we know the people that have been affected, and there's different circumstances for each and every individual. Amongst those are people who you look at the age, career path, and so on, so that people can make a sound decision. Amongst others, when you take a decision, is to make sure that, of course, when you apply for the alternative position, you qualify or you know that you are capable of doing that particular job. So those are the things that are at the end tail. But the third point that is critical, do not advertise this position for the outsiders at this point in time. Allow those who have been affected to apply for a number of positions. That's what we've been saying. So it's very important that we highlight that. Do not casualize the employment. Don't take permanent position into casual position. It becomes a problem. So those are the things that we want to close them so that we have a full process. Those who are affected can be able or be in a position to take a very crucial and critical decision whether what is it that they need to do next.
All right, thank you very much for your time. That was the General Secretary of the Communication Workers Union, Aubrey Tshabalala. And again, we did reach out to the SABC. It says it will only talk after announcing to staff members or speaking to staff members. If the CWU's information is correct, the number of people who stand to be retrenched has gone down quite significantly from around 400 to 290. But again, unions saying that this was a hostile process and they still don't have all the information and not all their inputs were respected. We'll follow the outcomes of that for you.